Hey everybody, Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company. Welcome back to the vlog. Today I'm interviewing Cliff Goodman, who is the proprietor of Vashon Brewing, and I'm standing in front of what is going to be next March 2018, the Vashon Brewing Community Pub. And I wanted to talk to Cliff about how he got started in brewing and his plans for the future, because the Vashon Village Green is just a fabulous place for a brew pub. And I wanted to find out all about Cliff's plans. It's a great interview. Cliff is a great businessman and even a better brewer. And if you ever get out here, you get a chance to try his beer, I'm sure you will agree. Sells it every Saturday at the Vashon Farmers Market. It is delicious. Anyway, here's the interview with Cliff, and I'll see you around. Let me know if you have any questions about Vashon real estate. All right, Cliff, thank you so much for doing this. This is great.
Hey, my pleasure.
So stoked. First of all, I want you to know I love your beer. So
thank you.
And I love beer, and I was thrilled that you're on the island and the way you participate with the community and everything. Just thank you so much for making the time and for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, let's start with how'd you get into brewing and how'd you bring it to Vashon, and what's the birth story of Cliff's Brewing?
You know,
Vashon Brewing.
Decades ago, I started home brewing. You know, and I brewed on and off over the years, and gosh, about 7 years ago, my wife said, hey, you know, she was working at Vashon Community Care. They were doing this online auction, and she said, hey, hon, you know, we've got this auction. People are donating all kinds of stuff. Can you donate some of your beer? So, well, of course. So I did, and, you know, it sold really well. And in fact, a lot of people told me afterwards that they tried to bid on my beer, but it had already been sold out, and they weren't able to get any, and they were really disappointed. And the folks who did win the beer were really excited about it and really enjoyed it. Well, it was about, gosh, now maybe 7-8 years ago. And at that time, you know, I was ready for a change in my career. I had always, you know, I went to college, I studied business administration, accounting, I became an accountant, and I was ready for a change.
Were you an accountant on the island?
No, I worked in Seattle. And and about that same time, you know, the craft beer industry was really starting to pick up steam. Still pretty small, not that many small breweries, but a few. And so I started taking a look at it and started putting together business plans, and anyhow, it looked great. It seemed like Vashon was the kind of community that would really get behind and support that.
Yeah.
So the kids were out of the house, done with college. We didn't need as much income, so I decided to take the leap and start a business.
That's great.
Yeah. So, and you know, right from the start, boy, people were just so excited about it. You know, it was a lot of fun. And brewing beer is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but I really enjoyed it. So that's, you know, the auction and donating to that auction kind of got the wheels turning,
That's great.
And it led to starting a brewery. And at that time, I started what's known as a nano brewery, really, really tiny.
Right.
Well, at that time, an industry publication said that there were 65 nano breweries in all of North America, Mexico, U.S., and Canada.
Wow.
65. So I was in pretty rarefied atmosphere when I started. Now there's probably that many just in Seattle.
Really?
Yeah.
Are there really?
Yeah,
See,
I think
don't know
so.
anything about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's been really interesting. And of course, you know, we're still really the only. There's another licensed brewery, but they're not really active yet.
On the island.
On the island. But we're still pretty much the only game in town. And
are you now a microbrewery? Did you move up from nano to micro, or is it
I'm kind of on the edge.
on the edge? Okay.
On the edge. And that's kind of where I want to stay. I don't have plans to grow it into some big giant industry. I like being on Vashon. I like working on Vashon, and I want to keep it that way.
Great.
But the next step for me is opening up a tasting room.
Yeah, well, tell me about the tasting room. So we're here at the Village Green. This is we'll do some filming and show you around the Village Green. But tell me what's a tasting room? What does that mean?
Yeah.
And so you're not going to be brewing here.
Not initially.
Okay.
So
Is there room there to brew?
not in the space that I'm renting. So our working name for the space is Vashon Brewing Community Pub. Because it's separate from the brewing space, I had the option of starting up a tavern or a restaurant with a beer and wine license. And I wanted a place that was family friendly. So I opted to go the restaurant route, which then presented the next issue in that I'm not a restaurateur, and I didn't want to operate a big commercial kitchen.
Yeah.
Which led to the next decision. Okay, if I want to offer food and have a place where people can bring, their kids, their family, that food needed to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be a part of it. So that's kind of the first area where community comes into the name, because rather than create yet another commercial kitchen, have yet another standalone restaurant, because we have lots of good restaurants on the island, I decided it would be better to partner with an existing restaurant and utilize their space and their chef. And I just felt that was more supportive of the existing community.
Great. And who are you partnering with?
Well, to be determined.
Okay, fine.
I'm in talks,
Okay,
but it's not finalized
I
yet.
got it. Okay, good.
But it is someone that you're talking with. So.
All right, great.
Yeah. So, and that took a big weight off my shoulders because, running a brewery is a lot of work. Then going and opening up a tasting room, a pub, it adds whole other dimensions, and it was kind of overwhelming at first.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So what got me to the point of saying, okay, I feel comfortable taking this project on, is that I felt I could leverage a lot of support from the community. Having a restaurant partner with me is a huge support.
Yeah.
Having my my son-in-law, who is helping me in the brewery and interested in taking over the brewery operations, was a huge support. So when you take all that into account, then what started out as an overwhelming project now becomes very manageable.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And so tell me about the vision for the pub. Who's the clientele? What are you going to be serving? I mean, obviously the exact food menu's not been decided, but what's the idea?
The idea is, like I said earlier, we have lots of good restaurants on the island. I didn't want to try to compete for that space with yet another restaurant.
Right.
So my thought was, what do we have? What are we missing here that's just really not being addressed? And what the thought that came to me was a space that really focused on a local experience, offers food, but not really a sit-down restaurant with wait staff. So a space where you can order small plates, kind of a tapas bar. So if you just want a little something to nibble, great. If you want to pull a few things together and make a meal out of it, that's great. If you don't want any food at all, that's fine too. So to give people kind of an experience, kind of what you'd find in Europe, where they're not putting a menu in your face. They're not in a hurry to put the food down. They're not in a hurry to give you the bill, have you leave.
Right.
Make space, make way for the next reservation.
Right.
So I wanted a space where people could sit down, take as much time as they want. So offer an experience where they set the pace for what they want and when they want it.
So a coffee house with beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. That's excellent. And tell me about the outdoor space. Tell me what your vision is for the Village Green. And I mean, it's not the Village Green, but what do we call the space?
Well, it is. Yeah, it is the Vashon Village. It's a public space that right now is used primarily once a year for the Strawberry Festival Beer Garden. It's a beautiful lawn.
Yeah,
it's a nice space. They've got utilities in there. I would love to be able to turn that into an outdoor beer garden. and be able to partner with the lodges folks, the Chamber of Commerce, and maybe even make it an outdoor venue for events, outdoor concerts and things.
Yeah, fine.
Where we can have an integrated beer garden.
Yeah, great, and certainly I can see how it would go with the concert series in the summer across the street. And,
yes.
Yeah. Certainly open those nights, and that's cool. And where is that at? Is it just a vision right now? Have you started talking to them?
It's just a
idea?
vision.
Right.
It's an idea.
It's got to start somewhere, right?
The lodges folks love it, but we haven't gotten into the details.
Great. All right, good. And how far out are you think from opening, and what's the timeline?
We are looking to open March 1st.
Okay.
So, but of course we've got to go through permitting, state permitting, King County permitting, public health permitting.
Good times.
Yes, exactly. And of course, some renovations, but pretty minor. I mean, knocking down the interior partitions, ripping up the carpet, putting in new flooring.
Yeah.
So hopefully that won't take too long.
Cool. Anything else about the space you want us to know, or anything else you want to say about the whole?
So a couple of other things about the space. By partnering with others, I get to bring in and collaborate with some amazing artisans on the island. As you well know, this is a community that has an amazing array of amazing people.
Yeah.
People with all kinds of talents and skills, artists of all types. And, we have a thriving beverage industry. We have amazing chefs on this island. And so being able to partner with people, whether they're bakers, whether they're professional chefs, whether they are artisans who produce amazing beverages, I get to partner with all of them.
Yeah.
And so this is a space that's really focused on the local community, even to the extent of, in fact, this afternoon, I'm going over to help a friend harvest barley, which we're going to malt and use to make the beer.
Oh, that's great.
And the barley is being grown about a mile from the brewery.
That's so great.
So I get to collaborate with some amazing people doing some really cool things, and that's the part that really excites me.
That is great.
The other thing is getting back to when you come to the tasting room, the pub, you get to set the pace. So I also want to open that space up to the public. So, if people want to meet there with groups who want to play board games, who want to play cards, who want to meet and talk about antique cars or old tractors, they'll have a space to come and meet.
Totally cool.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more excited. I can't wait for next summer to get in there. Yeah, that's great. All right, Cliff, anything else?
I think that's it.
All right,
but I want it to be the island's community space.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. It's really exciting. If it's
Thank
half as good as the beer itself, it's going to be unbelievable.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cool.